Hello, buongiorno, namaste. How you doing, Olga? You're the early worm, or the early bird, because then you catch the worm. I know what I meant. Geese. How are we all doing today on the front of weather? How you feeling? Oh, whatever lurgy I've got is coming out. I can't believe it. Can't believe it, geese. So, you know. I love the new look. I always look like this. How you doing, Jake? Hope you're well. Here we are, Sunday fun day. It's a bit cloudy here. It's a bit bright, and then it's not. Don't know what it's doing, mate. Don't know what it's doing. Have you all seen what I'm doing Monday? 10 hours, mate. 10 hours for 10k subs. What are you thinking, mate? I'm going to see how it goes. If it's crap, I'll just stop it. You know how it is. But I'm just going to do a big push for subscribers now. I thought, right, 10 hours. Let's do 10 hours for 10k. See if we can get from 6,750 up to 10k. Nutter. But yeah, I mean, even when I get a few hundred subs out of it, I'll be happy days. Do you know what I mean? But 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. I thought that'd be a nice time, and then obviously, I can always end it early. Basically, I can just go, do you know what? Enough's enough. But today I've got blooming head thing going on, that lurgy thing I had the other day. Oh, so be careful. There's lurgy going on, people. So I hope you're well. Stay safe. Get your vitamin C. There's a lot of scurvy nowadays living on, houseboats. But yeah, what a week it's been. What a week it's been. Don't panic, I'm here. How you doing, Mark? Hope you're well. Living the dream on this glorious weekend. Yes. And it is indeed a call-in show today. So, talk about anything to do with the knife crime, Belfast, the borders, you know what I mean? We had it all going on, didn't we? But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping people do call in because I'm not in the mood. My eyes, I don't know where I'm going on here. This point you with, I've got the lurgy too. No way, have you all got? Oh, I think it only gets nice people because I know you're ultimate nice. So, and your thing come through on the Ko-fi, your membership. It came through to me. I was like, what's that? So I've gone in the look and it said, membership because you pay monthly. I was like, well, I didn't know it went through. So thank you very much once again, Olga. You are a lovely human being. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on. Like, I thought, yes, my nose is clearing. And then all of a sudden it's back again. I was like, and then my head, I felt a bit groggy. But I stayed up late last night. Well, late for me anyway, because I watched Brazil v Morocco. I thought, that'll be good. And then, a bit of a weird one. I got this morning, I felt like I had a hangover. I was like, I don't even drink alcohol, mate. I don't even drink alcohol. How can I have a hangover? So yeah, so I don't know what's going on, but hopefully tomorrow will be all right. But I'm doing it anyway. I'm committed. 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. A big mad push. I got inspired by Mr. Beast because he hit 500 million subscribers, and I thought, well, I've got to go for 10k and all. Do you know what I mean? I'm not greedy. But yeah, so and then I was thinking about the Scotland game, but I was in and out of consciousness and that, and I saw Scotland score, and I thought that'd do. That's stupid o'clock. Brazil went all that. Morocco done well. Fair play to Morocco, but the first half, second half, whatever. Could live without that. But what can I say? I had the lurgy, but lucky for me, it didn't last all that long. Yeah, but I had it like for 2 or 3 days, and it sort of went like yesterday, say. I was like, good. And then this morning it's back and I feel a bit like a head. So I don't know what's going on. Strepsils. Yeah, I try not to take anything. I try to get my bod to fight it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good. So and thank you. Oh God, thank you all. Yeah, we are beats and tapes is on this home, But yeah, I thought 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. push for 10k. It's all up to get the notification on, guys. The chances are I'll probably miss Tuesday evenings. I'll probably have Tuesday off and I'll do Monday 10 hours. I mean, if I end it early or whatever, I might end up just putting something up and review some video or something. So keep your eyes and ears open, guys. I'll make it up as I go along. You know me. The situation is really strange, not the rights as I can understand that, but the whole reason for it in the first place. Yeah, I think everyone's just like a bit of a powder keg ready to go boom, weren't they? So any excuse maybe, and they just wanted to let out their anger at the government. I stayed up for that game too. Wasn't worth it. Yeah, I know. Second half, I'm a bit like, what? Yeah, Tommy's been arrested again. Apparently a terrorist. Don't know where they come up with this stupid stuff. How you doing, Nelly? Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Living the dream. Eating a custard cream and all that. Let me open my other window so make sure it's all tickety boo. I think it's something like to do with my internet and it goes all funny. Do you know what I mean? Do you know GB News only has 2 viewers on X and I have 6? Yes, I beat GB News again. Woohoo! It's not really a claim to fame, is it? 6 people on thingy. Oh, it's funny as go whiz. But it's always worth looking at. But yes, but whether you're on X or on YouTube, get in the comments. I demand you get in the comments. Oh, Olga's off. Olga's off. Look, here we go. 5 Wizardware memberships. Thank you very much, Olga. Let me quickly. I need to load a window, don't I, so I can see who's got them. So don't worry if it starts pausing. That's me opening another window because I've got Mrs. in the lounge watching telly. I've got the daughter and her daughter watching telly in their bedroom, and then I've got my son downstairs with his girlfriend watching telly, and they're all linked to the internet. So if it goes slack, then it's because like we're all on it. You know what I mean? We're very, can't live without the internet. Blooming TVs, isn't it? Connected through the internet. As soon as the internet goes, you lose TV. You never used to have that problem in the 90s. So, Northwest Patriot, yes. Yvonne Simpson, yes. One England Patriot, yes. Mike, that was a while back. And David, I'm not too sure. That's a good shot. You done well there, Olga. You done well there. That's good. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate your generosity. Don't know why I started talking like that. That was a bit weird, wasn't it? But there we go, ladies and gents. So, and I've got some more, Robert Johnson, he's normally very generous and he's always in the chat. I've got some more photos from him. I'm probably going to go through them tomorrow, actually, because he actually takes photos of the stars and galaxies and has like a butterfly galaxy and that. He sends me stuff. And I'm going to show you those photos because they are really good. Like where he is in Ohio, he must have not a lot of natural light around him. So super clear. I'll tell you, it's crazy. Some of those photos he got are awesome. You'd think they're, super duper professional NASA type photos. I'll tell you, some of the colours in it and the star art's amazing. So we'll probably go through them tomorrow. We've got 10 hours, so we might as well, haven't we? Because I was thinking that the other day. I was like, oh, yes, we do that. Yes. But all the pink ladies, yeah, they're good. AI covered it. It was quite essential British event in the park on a sunny Sunday. Perfect, excellent. Yeah, pink ladies. They're good. See, I'm all up for a protest, but I don't understand. Right? They should have been shouting like I can't breathe. I've been stabbed, and then because a gentleman in Belfast, they could then follow up and say, I can't see. I've been stabbed. And they could have just kept chanting that. I don't condone all the violence. No, I don't. That's not going to solve anything. And you're just giving, shall we say, left or the far left because we're far right, and we're agitators. You know what I mean? All these labels, it's just ridiculous. They're just people that are worried about their country. They've had enough. They're at breaking point and they went too far. Admittedly, I don't understand all this setting fire, throwing bricks, throwing cones and whatnot. I'm not saying it deserves bloody 2.5, 3 years banged up either. It's ridiculous. Oh, we got a delay in the court system, 373,000 court cases. Oh no, we can do you tomorrow. That's fine. What? Oh, and we're going to bang you up for a ridiculous amount of time because we've got no space in the prison as well. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I'll see where that's going. None of it makes sense, does it? So, yeah. Chauvin was a group that fought for years, saying islanders for the Irish, and the IRA randomly attacking people and all sorts. Yeah, I remember all that. That Adams, wasn't it? Chauvin group opened the doors for the immigrants. Yeah, I mean, last thing you need is immigrants for everyone. It's just it's gone silly. It's gone silly. I feel like the UK is currently a pressure cooker. Yep, every now and then the government releases some information to reduce the pressure, but Starmer just keeps increasing it. Yeah, because he's on another level. There's someone posted on X saying, "Oh, Keir Starmer's the best prime minister ever," and I thought, could you be any more out of like touch with reality? It's ridiculous. Look at the green name of people who met up. Yeah, exactly. How you doing, Alan? Hope you're well, my friend. Living the dream on a glorious Sunday. It's a glorious Sunday. Whereas I agree with the sentiment, I think that social media makes things seem worse than they actually are. It can do, yeah, because there's certain rhetoric in it. But then if it weren't for social media, we wouldn't see half of what goes on. So that's good. But yes, I think there's certain people, like even the left, get involved with certain things like that to agitate it and then, to aggravate and all whatever. And then they're like, oh, look at the far right, saying that. But they twist what you say and blow things out of proportion. And you're like, really? So, but yeah, I agree. Some people, they sort of post it in a way and make it all doom and gloom, and it's not actually as bad as what you think or what is coming across. So, but how you doing, Grace? Oh, that's a good photo. Is anyone going to call in? Oh, I don't know. Be a very short stream today if they don't. I love astronomy. Yeah. I tell you, some of the photos he's got, mate, are amazing. I'm going to go through them tomorrow. There's quite a few there, so I'm going to scroll through them. I think as we're scrolling through, there'll be a photo of him as well thrown in, because he goes, "Oh, just so you know who I am," or whatever. And they're like, "Oh," but the photos, honestly, like, I love a good old star. Well, I suppose looking for blooming UFOs. You know what I mean? But yeah, I know. When's Nelly going to get one? It's disgraceful, Nelly, isn't it? You need to get one. All I can say is everyone has to keep buying memberships until Grace gets one, and hopefully for my benefit, it takes a while. But I'm only joking. Don't. But headphones are ready. Headphones are ready because we got someone in the back end. You never know who it could be. Ooh. Hello.
Hello, Wiz. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream, apparently.
Yeah, I'm tired today.
Me too. Like, I've got some head thing going on. I don't know what it is. I've not been able to shake it. I was actually going to cancel this. And I was like, I've got 10 hours tomorrow, so it probably be an idea. And I thought, no, because people are thinking, hang on, it's been up and whatever, and cancelling it's just could be rude. So I thought, right, we'll do it and we'll see. And then, maybe I'll just aim for an hour and then we're all happy. And then we'll do the 10 hours tomorrow or something. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. But because you said you stayed up for the football, did that sort of throw you all out of sync? Because it did with me.
Yeah, it did. And also, it's Rich and Roper doing their first ever call in today. So I thought I'd support them later on. So I don't want to wear myself out too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what time are they on?
On at 4.
Oh, is it 4? I don't think there's any football on at 4. No, there isn't.
You should come on and say hello.
Yeah, I'll see how I feel. What was I going to say? Yeah, because the Queen's, isn't it? That Emma Raducanu's actually in the final. I watched the semi yesterday. So I don't know what time that is. About time she's done something since winning the US Open. I'll tell you. I thought, oh, here we go. A British person. She's going to smash the whole tennis scene. Nothing.
Well, if you're doing 10-hour stream and you get that bored, run out of content, then I can always play every single one of my guitars. That will waste some time for you.
Yeah, that'd be good. Anyway, that's crazy. But yeah, like those photos that Robert sent, they're on my through the Kofi account. he sent them. I was like, oh my God. I thought like they were like super duper. And he's like, yeah, I took them. I was like, what?
It would be great
So-
to see them because I do love a bit of astronomy. I have said before, a couple of telescopes. I've never done any of the photography side of it, but what you can see through a telescope doesn't look like those pictures. Just in case no one has ever looked through one, they look like when you see them with your own eyes, they're kind of black and white smudges in the sky. So what I would guess Robert does is he layers hundreds perhaps of different photographs on top of each other, and then you draw out the colours from that. But it's more technical than that. It's very, very skilled.
Yeah, and there he is, the man himself, Robert. Just talking about your photos, mate. I've got a 10-hour stream tomorrow, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m, pushing for 10,000 subs. And I said, right, I'm going to be showing all your photos, everything that you've done with all your stargazing, because those photos are just amazing. So, yes, we were just talking about you. So, how strange you turn up.
Yeah, it is. It would be great to see those pictures.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you, one of a butterfly something he said. I looked at it. I was like, "Weird, it is as well." Oh, it's so cool. But yeah, we'll that's to keep people wanting more. So we'll do that tomorrow. How you doing, Dizzy? Dizzy.
I would imagine that there'd be some parts of the sky that Robert can see that we probably can't. So there might be certain features of the sky that therefore we may see for the first time.
Yeah, I don't think he's got light pollution where he is because the pictures are that good. So,
well, I know that
which football? Scotland won 1-0. Brazil, Morocco drew 1-1.
Yeah, I know. In Suffolk, you can see the constellation Sagittarius. In France, you can. So it's just.
Well, I never knew that.
Well, you can see it, but you have to be very, very. You have to have a very low horizon to see it in England.
All right. That's Pat, how you doing, Pat? Hope you're well. Trigger Christian, how you doing? Who else is in there that I have missed? I don't think. So yeah, some of the tickets were £1 million, mate. Ridiculous. So I think I said hello to everybody. Well, we got Slim in the back end. In the back end. Slim's in someone's back end. Sorry about that, Slim. That sort of.
That's a really good point that Robert's raising there. I mean, I saw some the England tickets were available and they were $600. It's absolutely obscene. And when you think that they've expanded this tournament to ridiculous number, whatever it is, 40 odd, it's not anything to do with the quality of football or giving countries an opportunity. It's just to make more money.
Yep, basically. Have we decided on a topic and date for Jake's Substack project yet? Nope. I need to work out which one we're going to do, and I'll do a video about it. But it will be happening, and there will be links to Jake's Substack in the description. Everything. We'll make sure we do it all right, and then I'll read it as if like I'm talking it. It'll be done very professionally.
And if you have any ideas now,
whatever,
let us know.
Yeah, it'd be good. It will be good. I have to say that. 10 hours of the whiz, happy days. I know, 10 hours. I thought it'd be a good idea. I'm going to regret it, but it's just to hopefully get people in and get them to subscribe and, woohoo.
Although
if
you're not
would.
feeling, I wouldn't do it because it will take it out of you.
Yeah, I'll probably end up cutting it short.
Yeah, but I'd postpone it if you don't feel well, because that's going to ruin the rest of your week then.
Yeah, I will. I'm hoping it's going to be all cushy, and we'll see how.
Oh, exciting! It's kicking off in London. I mean, that's shocking, Dizzy. Shocking that it's kicking off in London. I'm appalled and disgusted by it.
Oh, wow.
That's everything.
We got a Slim. How you doing, Slim?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Good
to see you, you're looking rather full of colour there, me old China. You had a good, healthy week.
Healthy? I'm not sure about healthy. I turned 60 yesterday. So I got a case of beer off my sister and drank a lot of it.
We're looking very good for your age.
Thank you very much, Jake.
You're welcome. Did you have a good day?
Yeah, it was nice. Quite relaxing. Some family issues going on that I had to deal with, but they'll be resolved, I'm sure.
I know that much, that you had curry and beer.
Curry and beer. I started on the beer after my sister appeared at 10:30 in the morning, and I says to myself, in fact, I'll show you one, a bit more product placement. Give me a moment.
Product placement. But, I'm going to have a look, see what's going on live. But does it say London?
Saying I drank the whole case was a lie. I've still got 2 bottles.
Very nice. That one last
Oh,
one, then,
Modelo.
No, I couldn't drink the whole case.
You try.
I gave it a good effort.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So yeah, I had some
Oh,
Aldi takeaway meals, some nice rice, some garlic bread, some stuff, box of strawberries. My gut was rotten this morning.
oops.
It won't stop you eating.
Nothing,
Go eat.
nothing's coming up in London. Like no, it's literally like there's no one live in London.
AY
looking.
was there, I know that. He's touring London at the moment.
Now,
Probably,
I have a question for you.
For me?
Which is for you, yes. Because I think that you'll be able to answer this sort of question better than I would. For people that don't really understand the sectarian divide in Scotland and Northern Ireland, how would you describe that? How are you sort of day to day?
In brief, good afternoon, Electrodot. In brief,
what's it like
there is a Protestant and Catholic situation whereby there was a church reformation back in the day. Then certain interests, land interests, in fact, came into play. And then some guy showed up for France, wanting a fight. And he was a bit of a tough guy. King William of Orange, they now call him. He was a bit of a tough guy, and he made a good representation with a lot of people. And a lot of people was like, hey, this guy's a hard drinker and a fighter. We'll side with him. So then they became known as the Protestants. So the Protestants were having a real tiff with the papacy, because the papacy was in fact a theocracy that seemed to run everything and dictate terms to even the nobility and the kings. And the people of the Reformation were like, going to no do that, mister. And he was like, well, we're going to do it. And in fact, we're going to do it, and we're going to send troops up to impose this, that, and the other on you, because we're Catholics and you're protesting against us. You are Protestants, which is something I had to explain to a friend, that the Protestants never picked their name, they were given it. So you people that are opposing the reformation of the church here, we're going to headbutt you square in the face and ruin your day, right? And then this guy that showed up for France, he was like, bonjour, monsieur, me, hard-drinking man from France, me, hard-drinking fighting man, me fight anybody. And he done this, and he did do this, and he was known as a scrapper.
I read about it in several books, you're quite right.
Oh, there you go. I like to stay within his sort of historical accuracy as far as I can, right? So he won favour with the Protestants, and then the Protestants had a bit of a fight. And then, as the Irish will tell you, after the Battle of the Boyne, 1690, and there was a red hand involved where some guy cut his hand off and flung it on a beach, which I don't actually believe to be true. Now, we sent them a Blarney stone just to cheer them up. So the Scots are still in favour with the Irish. or as we call them here, the mix. Right. So we Scottish are still in favour with the Irish because we sent them a Blarney Stone. But the English, Angleterre, or the Irish don't like them because they're English. That about sums it up. They're English, right? So, to cut a long story short, we're still squabbling over it all these years later. And now it's actually kind of been boiled down and condensed into, if you go to a Catholic church, you're a Fenian, and if you go to a Protestant church or don't go to a church at all, as most Protestants don't, you're a proddy. And that's all MD ever knows about it.
So
I could go on at further length for historical accuracy, but that about sums it up.
No, thank you very much. I think that was a very good summary. But what is it like when you live in an area like that and you've got people that have those beliefs? How does it kind of affect your mindset and the way you go about your business?
Well, obviously, it's something that I grew up around it, right? And I don't really feel connected to it, although you can't avoid it. It's like the law. You try to ignore the law, but it won't ignore you. So if you go for instance, there is a local newsagents where they will not hire MD that is not Catholic, and that is commonly known. Right?
Yeah, this is something that where I come from, that just doesn't come into the equation at all. There's nothing like that. For me, it's really interesting to hear what life is like to live in those sort of conditions.
Well, I wouldn't wear a blue jumper, and that is something you actually have to take into mind. I wouldn't, for instance, wear a blue jumper when Rangers and Celtic are playing. And in fact, there's areas that I would actively avoid if there is what they call an old firm match on between Rangers and Celtic, the two traditional adversaries, because some drunk guy will see a blue jumper and decide to pick on you because you might happen to be wearing something that's royal blue.
I've got a black T-shirt on. Does that mean that I support the referee?
It means that people would wonder who you are and ask you questions like, "What are you?
What am I?" I could.
What are you?
Product placement for you there, boys. I don't think you can see that. But bottle of Bell's Scotch whiskey. There you go. I identify as a drunk Scotch. Well, I use it. Scott.
That's made half a mile for here.
So is this is a generational problem then, Slim? It's something that passes on through the family.
Definitely, yeah.
And so is it like each community has its own sort of area and its own sort of territory?
There are areas, certainly in the city centre, that are known to be Catholic. But now, with the way the housing schemes and the way the council run it, it's pretty much just a mishmash of everybody in different areas.
Right.
There's no like ghettos anymore for the Catholics and the Protestants, although there were quite a long time ago. I say a long time ago, a generation or two ago. But the opinions have lingered long and weary. And for a lot of it, my grandfather was an Orangeman. He wore the sash and walked proudly while his wife was a Catholic. It's nonsense. And it's always been. Now, there's a song, The Sash, since I mentioned The Sash, right? I don't know if you know the song, The Sash.
No. I have no idea.
Well, I don't really want to spread it. And there's another song, I Married a Fenian. Do you know that song?
No.
I married a Fenian, her name was Maguire. She ordered my flip to be thrown in the fire. And as it was burning, I heard a sweet tune. The old orange flip playing a Protestant tune. Toodaloo, fuck that pop.
Even dancing to it on video there.
This is absolutely fantastic, though, because what I love about this is that it shows how traditions and the sort of mythology is passed on, and, you know, through stories and through music, and it's fantastic to hear.
I agree, but that actually says more, because it was a Protestant man marrying a Catholic lady, and it shows you how ridiculous the whole thing is, that they're staunch in their beliefs right until something catches their eye and they're like, oh hell, like, look at her. And suddenly the fact that she's a Catholic doesn't matter anymore, right? And it shows you how kind of ridiculous the whole thing is, and that song actually speaks to that.
No, I think it's really, for me, it is really, really interesting, because there isn't anything like it. I mean, I suppose the closest thing, and it's not really very close, is that we would joke that somebody from Norfolk is from abroad, and we call them foreigners, because it literally is just at the other side of the river where we live. So that's about as much of a sectarian divide as there is, or the divide between Norwich and Ipswich, the football teams. But it's really just banter. There's none of the sort of violence, none of the history that exists in Glasgow, and certainly in Belfast as well. So it's really interesting for me to hear what it's like. Particularly,
I think you'll find these tribal differences exist everywhere, whether it's one side of a town or another, or the neighbouring village, or in fact the neighbouring farm. It even comes down to farmers. Two farmers would point the finger at each other and tell you the other farmer's the worst farmer in the world. You know, these divides come down as far as they can reach.
We point our fingers at different people who call things like, you know, don't call things cobs, they call them baps or rolls or things like that. You know, they're just odd. You know, it's a cob.
Yeah,
it's a cob. Otherwise, how do you ask for a sausage cob if you're using the dialect such as whiz, which is roll? Yeah, then you're just going to end up with sausage roll, surely. Yeah, I just can't make any sense of it. Yeah, these foreigners. I'm pointing it the wrong way. These foreigners.
I can make sense of it, but I don't support it in any fashion.
No, I don't support the use of referring to sausage rolls either. It's very confusing for people.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, just
yeah, but if you go to Greg's or pick up a packet from Tesco, it says on it sausage rolls. It doesn't say anything else. It says sausage rolls. So
yeah, but how do you ask for a sausage cob?
Rolling. Why would I want a sausage knob?
How you get a sausage roll, as in a sausage cob? How do you ask for one of those in your particular dialect, or don't they even exist in your dialect?
Like what it says on the actual thing when you look in Greg's and you look up and it says sausage rolls.
Exactly.
£1.
So
look.
So if you call your cobs a roll, right, then how do you get a sausage cob?
Well, what you'd have to do, you'd have to clarify. You'd have to clarify it, Richard, by saying that you'd like to have a sausage in a roll.
I want my sausage
you say
roll.
a sausage. A sausage sarnie.
I want my sausage sarnie. So that's a sandwich. That's a piece of bread. That's a slice of bread. Sarnie.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Do you want it in a cob?
In Denmark,
I want my sausage. I'm already walking away now because, you know, I'm hungry for a sausage cob.
Yeah, but just say sausages in a roll, and they go white or brown. We say brown. There you go, sausages in a roll.
I don't think anyone around here would recognise the term cob.
Sausages in a roll. You just end up with two sausage rolls.
The only cob I know is the sweet corn, innit? Corn on the cob.
Cake of bread.
Well, there's no sausages on a cob. That look weird.
You have to be careful with language. You know, you should be precise with the way that you word things, because it can lead to unfortunate errors. Like I once saw in the free ads, I mentioned before, but I once saw an advert for a mirror that said it had never been used, and I wondered whether or not anyone had looked in it. But I remember there was another one where it said, for sale, Black Boy's bicycle. And I wanted to inquire, was this bicycle only for black boys? Or could white boys use it as well?
Since we're going on about language, I'd like to say there's a strange situation that we have, that you spoke north of the border and south of the border, where our language is quite different. And in fact, a lot of words that we call slang, are in fact just older words.
Yeah,
a prime example being a poke. if you go into a shop, you ask for a little bag. If you ask for a pork here, it means a little paper bag, right? But pork comes from the French word poquet, or pocket. And it's just a lingering example of basically Middle English, where that is the word that was used.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Scottish slang words are actually old words that have just never faded away.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
We've got duck. I watched something the other day, and that were explaining duck to me, but they put it in a different way. I can't remember what it were, you know. But yeah, but apparently a lot of people use the word duck all over the country for a term of endearment. Thank you, my duck, or whatever. Yeah, barm cake. You see,
it's definitely more of a Midlands and Northern thing than it is Southern thing.
Oh yeah.
But then that's because where I'm from is an agricultural area. So it's traditionally been based around farming and around the waterways. So the people are very different. There's a very different pace of life. It's very slow here compared with what it would be like in a city. The people that live here are people that have lived here for generations. So you don't have a feudal society, but you have much more settled society in that regard.
Yeah.
And it's not just here, it's true of a lot of market towns across the whole country, because I think you only have to go a mile or two outside of a major city and you find that you do get these market towns.
Yeah, well, I'm in a market town, Mansfield, and we've actually got a shop that's just sprung up actually called Ale Me Duck a shop in middle at Market Square. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Palestine does not exist.
No.
I don't know who said it was.
Oh, yeah.
No, Wiz, I know who that is. That's J-Dub. He's all right. He's a good guy.
That's it.
He's okay. He's not a troll or anything.
He's saying he supports Palestine. I was like, well, we're not having that. Let me just put this up. Look, there is no Palestine. Look, there never has been. Like, no. Oh dear. Here we go. But yeah, Palestine don't exist. And Palestinians rushed into Israel with the Gazans to try and kill as many Jews and rape them, because obviously apparently that's a badge of honor. So yeah, Palestinians, Gazans, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, kiss my arse. That's all I have to say about that. And Jesus was a Jew, so I'm staying friendly with Jews.
But he is also J-Dub. I've seen him around a few places. He's okay.
Yep, I've got my bit out. I just wanted to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from and stand with Israel. You've got to be on the right side of history, haven't you?
Well, I'm glad that you did that, because I was mentioning something on there. I don't know if anyone saw Nuria Khan's recent live stream where they were looking at this map of the world where all the apostates are, where people in different countries are now coming out as ex-Muslims. And it was really quite interesting. And then the person she was speaking to, who was a sort of mixed race American, mentioned something about trans. And Maria said to her, she said something like, as far as I'm concerned, it stops at the L, stops at the B, there is no T. And the other one was very adamant that there was a T. And so there was a bit of tension there, but the way they spoke to each other was really, really respectful and polite. You know, I admired that from both of them. You don't often see.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get a conversation between MD and the left anymore. It's actually sad. I know it might not be relevant or seem relevant. I've actually been studying a lot of the philosophy that ran up to the modern age, for Kant forward, pretty much. It goes before it, but pretty much for Hegel, Kant, that sort of period forward. And there's a gentleman, Tick History, his channel is very, very interesting. I don't know if you know it, Jake.
What was the name?
Tick History, T-I-K History.
No, I'll have to look that one up. T-I-K.
Yeah, it really does. It really does a lot of good explanations and such like. And I spent a lot of time trying to understand something you were talking about the other day, or touched on, the Hegelian dialectic. And
yes.
I've looked into it in the past and wondered that I couldn't understand it. And after watching him for a couple of hours, I've been watching him for quite a long time, but I kind of focused on the Hegelian thing because I was trying to understand it.
Well,
and he described it as hard to understand because it's nonsense.
Gaelic,
one of the things that we were told when I did my teacher training is that the best way to understand or to check that you know something is to teach it to somebody else. So if I said to you, could you explain really simply what is the Hegelian dialect? Could you do that?
Well, no, I can't, and that's what I would. And see the three words that are used to describe it. Hegel himself never actually used them. The synthesis, antithesis, and then the other one. He never used those words at any time, even once, in his own explanations. And my basic explanation of it on his terms, actually, I still find it hard to understand despite studying it. But I've been told that that's a reassuring thing because it is nonsense. It doesn't have any...
You mean the thesis, synthesis, thesis, antithesis, synthesis?
Yeah, it doesn't have any credibility in fact or in sort of even rational thought. I know they explain it with a match thing, describe a match. A match is this thing with chemicals on the end, you strike it and it starts fire. But it's still a match after it's been burned. And that contradiction shows that two opposing things can in fact both be true at the same time, right?
Yeah.
But there is a transition involved in that, a chemical reaction that means it isn't in fact a match anymore. What it is ash and chemical deposits. But it's not a match. It's not a match until it's been struck.
No.
Right? Now, that contradiction is what I would try to use as a Hegelian dialectic as an example. Because to explain it in words, you could go on for a lifetime and never make any coherence of it. It's nonsense.
So what about it do you think is particularly nonsense? Because I think it's really interesting that this is something that you have perhaps not been interested in. You've now gone and looked into it. You've done your own research into it. You've identified what you understand. But most importantly, you've identified areas where there is a gap in your knowledge at the moment. So what's important next is to try and bridge that gap.
So there is no bridge on that gap because, in fact, the gap is in sort of, I'm not sure if they get the words. The gap isn't my understanding. It's a lack of coherence in the philosophy. And it is a recognised gap in coherence. So my gap in understanding isn't a gap in understanding, it is an understanding.
Yeah.
So and that's why I went back to it and recognised that fault and went back and researched it deeply to find out that I was in fact right, that there is never going to be that link where you build that bridge across and the last step will take you to the other side of the river. The river is always one step away, and that is deliberate. And that is deliberate because they've created what is in effect a religion, right? And the religion means that there's no direct or coherent answers. You've got to have faith in the religion. And the religion itself is faulted, just like every religion is. Now,
well, I've got things up something really interesting because that brings in objectivity and subjectivity and the importance of the observer to what is being observed and how every observer would be different and bring their own different observation to different.
Well, see if something like maths is STEM, right? The hard subjects, the firm subjects, the numerical things that can actually be identified, quantified and measured, right? Philosophy sort of just wanders away from that into fantasy.
I don't study. Every single thing that I don't study is exactly what you just mentioned.
Well, this is the difference between me and some of the people that I've researched. I've spent my life actually working with things where somebody would come up to me with a large lump of metal, sometimes a very large lump of metal, right, on a forklift, plant it on the floor. There's on top of it stacked a stack of drawings, some tooling, and maybe some further instruction from a foreman saying, look, we need this by Friday evening. Even if you have to stay all night to finish this, we need this. Or we need all of this equipment put back together and sitting on the floor operating by Tuesday at 3 o'clock, right? And basically, if you have to hang about 24 hours a day until it's done and bring in help and call in people, just do it, and then we'll pay the bill at the end of it. Right?
No, I understand.
That's solid. That I can show one of your subcontractors. I can get them on the phone and simply say, look, I've been given an instruction. Here's the instruction. Point at the thing with the phone. Can you make it up here with that equipment, with the expertise and the tooling to help me get this finished by that time? And they'd say, I will stick a load of people in a van and it will happen.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with philosophy, you can think the same thing over and over and over for a million years and never actually come to a firm conclusion.
Yes, that is correct. And that is what infuriates people who are from the hard sciences and the hard subjects, that they don't like that ambiguity. They like to have finality.
That is the nonsense, isn't it? You can spend your life thinking. Now, I've studied philosophers, and I once argued that philosophy wasn't a real thing to a friend. And he pointed out, well, they use these things in algorithms and such like in computers, so they're real. And I gave them, right, okay, it's real. But I still believe it to be mostly nonsense.
Well, the term really means like a love of knowledge. So that's how I would see it. That it's not necessarily the great philosophers or the so-called canon of great philosophers. Philosophy is much more broad than that. Like, you can have political philosophies, you can have personal philosophies, you can have cultural philosophies. There's so many different aspects to it that I suppose if you were to say as an umbrella term, then yes, it could be regarded as nonsense. It's too broad to incorporate everything that you want to say about it. Which incidentally is the same
to be Socratic, I'm going to reply, how can you know that?
How can you know that? Well, but that, along with Who Am I? One of the other great classics. Yeah, well, actually, there's a whole chapter in my novel that is about how it's about detecting or distinguishing between something that is real and something that isn't, and how important evidence actually can be and how evidence can actually trick you sometimes.
Well, evidence can be misguiding, shall we simply say. And without enough evidence, it's like the black ball. It's like the black ball experiment where they stand somebody and ask them the colour of the ball. Two things can be true at the same time, right? And the big picture is a multi-dimensional object at the moment viewed from over 8 billion positions. Everybody has an opinion, and they might not all be right. In fact, every one of them might be wrong. And it could be like the man in the crowd that is standing alone in a crowd of 8 billion people saying, yes, you are all wrong. And he could be the only person correct. Einstein was a good example of that, right?
Yeah.
Einstein sat in a crowd of all of his peers and said, look, time, space, and matter are all the same thing. And even his peers were like, oh, hey, wait a minute. That means we're all right.
Yeah. Well, that gets interesting there, because that's where you can get into areas such as the holographic principle, where everything exists all at the same time.
Simulation theory.
Yeah, it's linked with that, yes. It's like the idea that if you had a photograph and you ripped it in half, you've only got one half of the photograph left. The other one, could be destroyed and there's nothing left of it. But if it were a holograph, not a hologram. If it were a holograph, then it would still retain the features of what was there beforehand, because the information is in every single bit of it. Bit like the information is in all of the ash that you mentioned from the match earlier on. Those elements still exist, but they're not in that form anymore. And so
actually, a lot of the elements are lost. Only the carbon's left in the match.
Some of them,
and
yes.
most of the actual elements are gone.
The elements that make it a match have gone, yes. But here, what we're looking at is the information still exists.
Yeah.
And that information is there, and that information can be accessed through the time that we're currently in, but it can also be accessed in the past and in the present as well. It's a very, very fascinating philosophy.
Schrodinger's photograph.
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat. Yes, that is part of the
photograph. Photograph.
Oh, the photograph.
Yeah,
Yes, Schrodinger's photograph. Yes.
Yes, both exist and don't exist and whatever.
Yeah. He has no principles.
Your double slit experiment and stuff like that, where wave is light is both a wave and a photon or something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
See, what I always try to do is, with any topic, like whether it's philosophy or whether it's science, what I do to make sure I can understand it is I read and read and read till I think that's it, and then I try and make it. And this is kind of what I was saying to Richard last week, actually. I try and turn that into the simplest statement I can. I think, don't worry about all the details. What are the basics? Start with that and then build.
Did you follow the link that I posted about the Fabians on
no.
Mrs. Jones? Oh, well,
I don't need to. I know about Fabians. I don't need to know any more about them.
Oh, I thought you were asking for a general a general translation of what it meant, because you didn't know what it was. So if you look at that, you'll see that they start off with who it was named after, which was some Greek guy, I think, and his MO, his military operation, was to bleed the people out basically by making them frustrated. And like, if you look at our society as now, everybody's frustrated, aren't they? Even if it's a trans issue, if it's what they're teaching kids in school, etc. It's
Yeah, but that's where my issue is. Is that the difference between the two of them? But you can say, yes, Fabians might have had these principles. They might have had a manifesto with this in place. How can we directly link that to what's happening today?
Yeah,
because at the moment, there's nothing that's linking them directly to it. That's my issue.
I understand where you're coming from. You like proof and factual points, don't you? But if you had a look at that documentary that I sent, I mean, the small, even Liz Truss, even she went on about it, about Fabians and how she couldn't do anything in government because of it. Yeah, and I do understand that you like your facts and things, but sometimes you can't really pin down a fact.
It's more that I think it's very easy for us as humans to recognize patterns, because that's what we're designed to do, is recognize patterns so that we can recognize threats, this sort of thing, for example. And so when we look at how governments and societies are sort of set up, it's very easy, again, for us to try and recognize patterns. And so when we see that there's a system in place, there must be someone behind it. But that isn't necessarily how things work. I don't think that there's one system, there's one great unified plan. I think that there are various different strands that together make up a whole, like a web.
Yeah.
And maybe one line on the web.
Yes, well indeed. But if you can't put together that puzzle at the moment, by the time you do have all of the evidence in which to put that puzzle together, it'll be too late. Do you get me?
I think, see, the problem with evidence, Electrodoc, you can study a thing. Now, I have studied a thing at great length, right? You can study a thing, and the more you study it, the more you realise that you don't know as much as you thought you did when you started. It comes back to the beginning of true wisdom, is to know that you know nothing. Now, you can study a thing for years, and I have studied something for decades, in fact, right? And there's always something new. And in addition to that, always something new, somebody is always creating something new tomorrow as technology and knowledge grows. So you can never stay in front of a thing that is always running ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Still think we need a government, though, to bring it down, Fabian society. Someone needs to look into it, follow the paper trail, see what's going off. It needs more then again, is it getting more looked at, if you know what I mean, by like MI5 or MI6 or whoever we've got in this country? You know, obviously.
I would, but MI5 will certainly, if there are things like this going on, they would definitely know about it, and they would be actively involved in the infiltration of it. And
again, are they members because it's so deep into the structure of our government and things? You know,
there is a good possibility.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Exactly. So you know, who's it up to?
I think at the moment we're in a position where certain groups, people call them different things. They call them like the elite, the cabal, the Club of Rome, the Fabians, this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of these people do have an influence in what happens. It's a simple fact. But at the moment, we're hanging on to an older establishment and an older way of dealing with situations that is so deeply ingrained that it really takes a kind of a flush of the whiteboard. We have to clear the whiteboard,
drain the swamp,
yeah, and start over.
Exactly.
With some sort of new system and new ideas and new people and new systems that we'll have to create, because there's so much of the old system is corrupt and toxic.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think that it's all down to overcorrection after World War II. Every single aspect that's led to where we are today has come from that, including things like setting up the welfare benefit system, which was a Fabian and Labour idea. All of those systems, the human rights, international law, for example, were designed and created for they were designed and created for a world that no longer exists. They were created for a Britain that was decimated in World War II, that had to import a limited number of people to help out with the workforce initially, to help with rebuilding, but not anywhere near much people like to exaggerate. And so this country then was not the country that it is today, but yet we're applying the same rules today that we find for somewhere that's, you know, it's coming up for 100 years now that we were in that system. So Slim is absolutely right. The current system that we have got is not working, is actively failing, and all the current governments are doing is just trying to prop up what is already there, rather than to commit to investing in a new system, which is going to take decades to actually come into fruition. That they think but we'll just keep going as we'll just manage, we'll just put a plaster over the wound. And so that's the problem that we're in. We need to get that mindset and say, no, fuck this. We want things to be right.
I mean, even the Fabians, you know, they or Labour or the left, you know, they're all interlinked. That pendulum has swung so far over, it's ready to swing back again, just as it did do in World War II. You know, the Fabians, you know, fell out of popularity. Well, basically because everybody were a patriot then, weren't they? You know what I mean? Getting country bombed and stuff like that. Everybody had to pull together and sort things out, and it were more to do with the right, you know, that way of thinking rather than the Fabian way of thinking. But then if you look at what government got elected in just after World War II, it was Labour.
One of the things you have to remember and know is that there's so many aspects and facets to these things. Finance being one of them. We were completely broke. We were bought out after the war because a lot of the things that we were developing for ourselves went to America. And hypersonic flight, for instance.
Yeah, jet engines. Yeah, Frank Whittle. Yeah, his idea of jet engine went over to America. Don't know why.
So a lot of things that we were hoping for, we didn't have the money then to develop, and we didn't have the resources because we were indebted. And I'm not going to start on who actually owns the banks, because we're all aware that a few families seem to own the banking systems worldwide, both here and in the East. Whether it be Shanghai banks or the Rothschilds banks or whatever.
BlackRock and stuff like that, yeah. Right.
Now, we're ended up in a kind of monopoly situation where a few families actually own about 95% of the world's wealth. And it's staggering the money they actually own. It is staggering. There is a single family, for instance, that actually control every single penny that flows through a bank in Britain.
Mm.
And see, where we have these autocracies running the shop for the backroom, just wagging a finger and saying, this is how it's going to happen, or you'll be bankrupt next year.
Yeah.
We don't have really any sort of control over our own future. And it is now that powerful.
The banks and stuff like that were able to bring up graphs about why Liz Truss were rubbish, or so they made out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But according to Liz Truss, if you listen to her when she's talking, it makes complete sense as to why she couldn't get any of her policies forward. I mean, she gave us £300 a year for 3 years, didn't she? When for a cost of living payment. Well, that soon stopped when Labour got in. In fact, I was waiting for mine. I got into debt because I was waiting for mine. My £300, it didn't come. And I thought, well, why not? Oh, yeah, they stopped it. Great.
Well, I think what happened
And
is
it's
that
common for people to blame those that they can see the next step up in the chain. But there are systems, and there are systems rather than families or rather than individuals. There are systems over and above that, the international banking, the EU, the WWF or WWE or the whoever it is, that seem to have far too much power over us. And even though, for instance, we left the Economic Union, we're still beholden to the Economic Court of Human Rights.
Yeah. Northern Ireland's still in EU.
These agreements. And these things are really dictating what we can and can't do, or people are using that as an excuse for it. And we don't seem to be able to break away from these things.
Well, we can if we had a powerful enough government. I mean, everything in the EU is all voluntary based. You know what I mean? We could just say no, we're not going to do that. We're going to not follow your ECHR and just pay them £1 million a day.
We could, but I think what's getting at really there is that it's the Jews that are behind everything, and a few Jews own everything. Oh, I know.
Wow.
What I was going to say is,
if I could speak for myself, I would say that the Jews themselves, there are some Jewish families that seem to have a lot. Now, if you want me to go back 2,000 years, we've only got ourselves to blame for that. Because there was this guy, Jesus, who did tippeth the tables, as I spoke before.
He did.
And the Christians said that we will not be involved in usury. Now, the Christians said that, the Jews didn't. And I'm going to defend the Jews here just for a moment. The Jews didn't say, no, you won't be lending money. The Christians says, we're against usury. We're against lending or borrowing money or making a profit from the trade in cash in any way. Yeah. So we handed the Jews and says to them, going to lend us a tenner, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you didn't agree with usury. I know, but going to lend us a tenner.
Yeah. You see,
we created that.
Muslims don't believe in that, do they? So that's strange, isn't it? You know, they'll just loan from the big family pot or whatever, and not have to pay any interest back. You know, they're all.
What they do is they get a share in the businesses they invest in, so they do get their money back.
Yeah.
And also, they don't need to borrow money because they can just print it. And that's
quick shout out to Robert. Cheers, mate.
Good man, Robert. So what we actually have is, and I agree with Slim on this, absolutely, is that what we think we can see isn't what we can only see the next layer up or the next rung on the ladder. And there is a level right at the top that we cannot see, that we know exists, but we don't know, for example, what their influence actually is, because we can only see the layer that's beneath them, which is the supranational of things like the EU, WEF, the United Nations would sit at the top of that. And so they're the ones that where policy actually comes from. But we can't see who's above them. And those people are always going to remain at the top because it's hereditary. So there's nothing we can do about them. We've got to rely on the fact that they are going to not make everything too shit for us. Because what happens is every now and again the system appears where we are right now, where there needs to be a change. And historically what happens is either there is a blood revolution, which is very rare, or the system itself agrees to cut things back a bit to make things better for people for a while. And that should have happened in 2008 with the financial crash. But instead of deciding to reset the system and completely, create something new that would work, they decided instead to keep the current one running and to just patch it over. And that's why we're in so much shit now, because the people who are right at the top could have done something, but they decided not to.
Yeah, but you see that's where I come again with Fabians. I reckon they're pulling all strings. These documentaries I've seen, they've got power in the WEF, WHO. They've got all their little minions in there, And I think when you look at like the WEF as an individual thing, I think you're actually being misdirected from the actual puppet masters, which is, as I say, the Fabians.
That's where I disagree, because I don't think that there are puppet masters in the way that you're thinking. Like there's an elite group who sit there and plan the world. I think that that's what happens at all.
Well,
I think that there are numerous small groups around the world who plot the agendas for various different reasons.
So then what the idea would be there is
Society
to see the paper trail. So the idea, which I can't do, you know what I mean? But the idea there would be to see the paper trail between the Fabians and the WEF and stuff like that, because I think they're the central problem.
Yeah, but the fact that somebody is a member of the Fabian Society doesn't necessarily mean if there are people from the Fabian Society in the WEF, that the WEF is therefore a Fabian group.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying about finding out the paper trail. I won't be able to do that. I can't do that. You know what I mean? But
there's a short thing, analogy, if you like, that actually covers every one of these things. Follow the money. Where does the money come from? Who's financing it? And that tells you everything.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people want to blame Bill Gates for this, that, and the other. And Bill Gates, as I would describe him, as a monster.
He's another Fabian, mate. He is.
Right.
He's on there. He's in there.
But the Fabians take these people in, right?
Yeah.
These people, it's not because of Fabians, it's because of these people. And these groups, they love to have a membership of rich people because it keeps them alive. And the first order of any institution is to survive, just like it is for any other life form.
Yeah.
Now, we can blame the Fabians and we can blame these groups and that groups, but we've got a system that allows all this corruption to slide through the system and end up with these people in power. We need to change the system.
Yeah, I agree. And the trouble is, I don't know how that can be done when there is
hard, to be honest.
gap.
I think it's a government such as Rupert. I think it's someone such as Rupert, but he needs to expand his party so as he's got, a proper party structure and stuff. And I think
Richard, let me ask you a serious logical question here.
Oh dear.
So you think Rupert is the answer? So tell me, hang on, I asked you the question. Hang on. How is a person who has at the moment got one seat in Parliament, how is he going to defeat what you think is a global conspiracy that's ruling the world? How can one man do that?
It is political ideas. True, we don't have a say in those particular ideas. We've just got to trust him to do it. And also, same as I said, when I'd finished what I was saying, I went on to say, but he needs to expand his party.
Yeah, but I'm logically, how can there be somebody who's got a very limited power that he's got right now, with this global network rule everything? How can that one man defeat that network? Because that's what your logic said it would be.
No, not that one man. That one man. No, I understand that. I also understand what Paul Thorpe is saying about Rupert Lowe. Rupert Lowe is only one man. I understand that, and Rupert Lowe does need to expand his party and then get more powerful. And then I think the brain set or the mindset of Rupert Lowe will actually look into this stuff because he's switched on. He seems to understand stuff like that. You know what I mean? So.
I think the analogy I would use is it's a bit like, imagine, so we can see behind you there, Richard, you've got your door behind you. Imagine the wall.
The wall.
No, just behind you, imagine that your wall is falling down and you've got a beam of wood there that's propping it up.
Right.
So often you have to put another little bit of wood there to hold it up. That's what we're currently doing.
Yeah.
If you remove that piece of wood, let it fall down and build a new one,
Yeah.
That's what Sim is suggesting we need to do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's all sellotape together, mate. Yeah, it's gonna all that background one day is just gonna fall down because all sellotape that's broken, that's been applied by.
And what I'm trying to say about the Fabian Society is that there are one aspect of the things that are helping to hold that wall up. They're not the whole power that holds the wall up, if that makes sense. They're one part of it. And there are many other different strands to it that all together, it looks like there's a coordinated effort, but there can't possibly be a coordinated effort when we look at how inept these people are when they're actually in governance. So if they can't run our government, how are they supposed to be doing all of these complex plans? The reason is because there's a group of people who have got the same way of thinking, who are intellectually aligned, but they're not necessarily following a puppet master.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
I would look at maybe
irony being this is irony being that this is a council house and that wall's brought by councils. Believe it or
There's
not,
nothing wrong with the wall.
I'm under a reform council from last time I heard. So God knows. Yeah. Sorry, Sven, were you going to say something, though?
You were going to say.
It could be that the government is doing what it's meant to be doing, and the plan is going to plan. And a lot of people are right in saying that it's a design collapse and it's being managed. Yeah. If you look at the infrastructure, whether it be the potholes and the roads, the cost of running anything, the hyperinflation that we're heading into, you could easily make a case that, for instance, energy or energy infrastructure. They're not building nuclear power stations because apparently the Greenies complained about it. Now, I can understand people not knowing about nuclear power and saying, oh, nuclear energy is bad. I don't personally believe that or subscribe to it. But if we don't have any stable power supply, we're not going to have a big future. And the only stable and clean power supply that we can actually create at the moment with a reasonable footprint is atomic power, whether it's small modular reactors or great big reactors. But all of our nuclear reactors are being decommissioned or have been stopped or been extended. So, looking at it for a grand overview, if you were looking at this and you were some great all-seeing eye, just to stay with the theme, if you were the all-seeing eye looking down on this to a great height, you'd say to yourself, if we're going to collapse that society, let the roads 40 bits. Let society start eating itself. Don't put any good work into it. And I would liken it, since Bobby's here, to a car, as I did before, that you get told, look, the bodywork's gone in that, mate, and this is the last MOT we're going to give you, and it's under advisement. And we're only doing it because you've been getting an MOT here and getting your car fixed for the last 25 years. So, see, the next time you bring your car in, it's going to be a new car because that one's fucked. and you say, I'm right, okay. And see, when you take it home, you don't bother getting another service on it. You don't bother fixing the smudge on the seat. You don't bother getting it valeted every other week to keep it clean. You just keep running it as cheaply as you can until you find a new car you can afford, right? And I think that's the situation we're in personally. They are running the old car into the ground. They're not getting it oil changes. They're not getting it waxed every month. They're not doing any of these things. They're keeping the oil level topped up because you're not changing the oil. You just keep filling it up because it's burning it.
Yeah.
You know, the tyres. The tyres are a bit, oh, look at them. Oh, do I need a new tyre? No, I'll run it on the canvas until I hand it into the scrapyard. And we are now on the canvas in this country, but we're not changing the tyres. We're not changing our system. We're not changing anything. That's where I honestly think we are, and they know that civil unrest is coming, and it's going to hit us hard. So they're not investing in it.
What Robert's saying just there, hydrogen is clean energy. Yes, it is, mate. But the cost to actually produce hydrogen by electrolysis, which is how I believe that they do it, is extremely expensive. It would take up all of the windmills that we've got around England in order to run like one power station of hydrogen. So yeah, it is clean, but it's not very efficient. It actually costs us a lot more.
I have a question for you. I think Slim might prefer this one to Richard, but Richard might like this question too. Oh, Helen is people worried about her before. Glad to see that she's there. Good. The question was, were we better off under a monarchy? Because throughout most of British history, it was a monarchical society, and it's only relatively recent that it hasn't been. So should we go back having an absolute monarchy?
Not. Can you vote in a new king now?
No.
Look at the way that this king's acting at the moment. So I'd say no. We'd need a parliament, and would need a decent monarchy in order to keep that parliament in check.
Yeah, but
or some other way of making them accountable. The politicians. Yeah.
But you could also next time round get a really good king.
A good king. Yeah. Like Wenceslas. Yeah.
Exactly. So was society better and was it more stable under a monarchy than it has been under a constitution?
No, that's why we ended up with a revolution. And if this government don't start sorting themselves out, or this parliament don't start sorting it out, we're gonna have another bloody revolution. So they won't get the.
I think that it feels like that, but I think we're actually quite a long way off an actual revolution.
Yeah, because
for there to be a revolution, people need to literally be starving.
Yeah.
And people are not. That's the trouble. A lot of people, although there is a lot of people in poverty, I don't have a lot myself, as I mentioned before. Compared with history, we're actually well off. And because people aren't worrying about putting food on the table like they would have been 100 years ago, not the same sense of unfairness that there would be.
Yeah.
Although that could come if food prices keep going up. Eventually, that's what's going to happen.
I'm right. Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed fuel's gone down, but my shredders haven't gone down. They're still £1.14. They were £1.10p before fuel started going up. So what's going on there? Why don't you get it sorted out? Fuel's gone down £1.74 for diesel.
Well, I'd like to say there is no way that we were better off under a monarchy than we are now.
No.
We were still basically peasants under a monarch.
Yeah.
And if you look at things, like
Go on, Slim. You go. Go on, Slim.
if you look at things like the way the King of Belgium behaved, and the Democratic Republic of Congo as it is now, you could end up with a king that just wants to hunt you for fun. So if you've got an all-powerful monarch that is quite willing to be a monster, you've got to suffer that, and you've got no regrets, you've got no comeback. And in fact, the whole legal system is there to repress you.
Yeah.
This is the best system that's ever been created, what we have now. And it is a development of thousands of years of progress.
Yes,
it has faults, and it's got faults we need to fix. But we've got poor people in Britain that are fat. Poor people are obese. How poor are you when you've got 20 smokes a day and you're obese? I've got a beggar at the top of the road. I gave her £1.50 a day or so ago. Right? She's smoking these baseball bat sized cigarettes and sitting there slightly podgy in front of Morrison's.
Mm.
We live in a society where the poor people are overfed and smoking cigarettes at 15 quid a packet. That's our poor people. And you need to put that in context to some of the rest of the world where poor people live on pennies a day.
Yeah.
And also you need to think about how, in fact, 100 years ago or more, what would have happened to those people? Well, they would have unfortunately, they wouldn't have, because they wouldn't have had access to the resource. And so we've
Well,
got
if you're talking 100 years ago, there'd been a workhouse.
Well, that's true, but the lifespan as well was much shorter because of the conditions that they were living in.
35 years average.
Not a lot, is it?
People forget these things quickly in a couple of generations, and they tell you how good it was in the past. Oh, things were better. No, they weren't. Dysentery, cholera, typhus, chicken pox. The list is polio. The list is endless. Syphilis.
Childbirth.
Only 150 years ago, syphilis killed millions.
Yeah. And also, enormous.
Things aren't better.
So yeah, I would agree with that. We live in the richest and most comfortable society that has ever been created. I absolutely agree with that one, and that's why I say that people will not revolt against that because it's too comfortable for them. Even though it might seem like it's shit, is it really that shit that people are going to go out and actually want to kill? No, it's not.
This is why people aren't voting so much, isn't it? Because they're living comfortable. They think, oh, I'm all right. You know what I mean? So, they don't go out and vote.
There will be, I believe, far from being a revolution, there will be civil unrest and divisions.
Yeah,
but that I don't believe will extend to change the government outside the ballot box. And for the very reasons, people are too comfortable and too well off. And it's unfortunate we've got a system where people can actually buy the vote. And by buy the vote, I mean, for instance, the commies, the socialists, they are in a situation where they're creating benefits and a benefit structure that makes people want to vote for them, right? And what it effectively does is make sure that people who are selfish, and it plays to the base instincts, selfishness and greed, will always vote for those that are promising more and more and more. And people don't have the vision or the foresight to see that eventually the money has got to run out and the debt has got to be extended to the point where it won't be affordable. And then we'll have to default on our loans.
Well, how the fuck can you spend more on welfare than on defence? It's utter insanity.
Well, you certainly can't spend more on welfare than you can on the tax collection, because we're now spending more on welfare than we collect in tax. So we're running at a deficit every year now.
So why are they doing? That's what I want to know. Why are they getting further into debt when it seems so obvious to all of us that is something that you could just stop overnight? It can't be that easy. It takes that the machinations of government, the wheels are actually turning. It takes time for these things to actually become visible.
Well, people only vote for the next 4 years. A politician is going to be in power for the next 4 years, right? That way they can constantly kick that can down the road and no one will ever be held accountable for the failures.
Yeah,
that's yet again your system failing.
Now that's where the monarchy argument comes in, because a monarch has a duty to continue over the next regime, which is something that the minister only has 4 years. So the continuity aspect under a monarchy works differently.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, which is something you won't get if you've got a monarchy in. Yeah, I mean the king or queen could actually be teaching their kids exactly the way of thinking that they think. So therefore, you've got another lifetime of a monarch in which to live with that crap that the previous monarch used to believe in. So look at this one. He's not really put British people, is he?
Well, we're supposed to have a constitutional monarchy for just that reason, and it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah. What is it that you think isn't working mostly?
In what sense exactly? Because
people aren't working.
Well, what part of the system is most broken? Is, I suppose, a better way to put it.
Policy. Basic policy is where we're failing. People have made decisions on policy that are costing us money. And we could go as simple as the hotels that are costing us billions. the decisions on energy structure. Now, see, if we want good, clean energy, we'll be manufacturing things at our doorstep. We'll be producing our own electricity, for instance. We'll not be importing solar panels and windmills from China that are polluting the environment and chopping up eagles. These things all seem to be insanity, Amy. And our policies have to change. We've got solar panels covering huge areas of land now, right, that are toxic. They leak toxic chemicals into the soil, so they'll never be able to be used for farmland again. We've got windmills that produce very little power, and in fact, they need to be in service for about 10 to 15 years before they break even on their energy input to output regarding their manufacture and production.
And they're not even manufactured here, they're coming from China.
Shipped halfway across the world using heavy fuel oil.
Which is just an absolute, it's just lunacy, it really is. I think nuclear is a much better option, and also open up the oil fields in the North Sea. We've got enough there.
Yeah, but they won't do it because they want to frustrate you. They want to frustrate you and charge you money. I'm not going to mention Fabians again, but they want to frustrate you and charge you money. If you were to watch that documentary, it says it in the first sentence. This is their MO, to frustrate
all of
people,
it would,
etc.
All of these problems would go if they were free energy.
Sorry?
So that's what if there were free energy, you wouldn't have these problems, because most of our economy is based on petroleum and petroleum-based products. So if we had something that was absolutely free, there'd be no need for those industries. Our economy would have to completely change. So I think that the petroleum
in any commercial society, it can never be completely free, but it could be a lot cheaper. For instance, there's a British company that are producing small modular reactors that have been designed and are actually ready for operation at the moment. Now, some companies are looking to these things to power small, large facilities and factories, but our own system is blocking them because of environmental concerns.
Yeah.
But producing toxins over huge areas of the landscape, producing thousands and thousands of tons of concrete and clearing away huge acreages of trees don't seem to matter to them when they're sticking up a wind turbine. The environment itself is being destroyed to create a couple of windmills, right? Then people go clean energy solar farms, as I said, polluting the environment horribly. But they want to complain about a farmer putting nitrogen in. But nitrogen's actually required, even by the sea and every other form of life. There's so many lies told, and everybody that's got their finger in the pie is responsible. I don't personally believe that it's like one group of half a dozen people at the top of the pile that's creating all this. Every single person making a small profit out of it all the way down the chain, even the person that's selling the solar panels or installing them or selling the concrete, they've all got their finger in that pie, and they want to sell the concrete. They want to sell the copper cable. They want to show up with a truck and dig a hole for the cable to be buried in or construct a tower somewhere. Every single one of these people are responsible for our failings. And that's us, you, me, all of us. We're all responsible because we'll buy into it and we'll all go along with it.
This is why I think web actually works very well here, because you can see that it is all interconnected. It isn't just one interest that is doing this. It's one interest pushes in a certain direction that other interests then orbit around, and so you get this sort of constellation of different inputs, and that's what's so difficult about breaking this system down. It's not simply the case that you can go in and you could just get rid of all the policies and see everything as you want it to be, because there are things associated with those policies that have to go as well. It's a really complex picture, and it's not something that can be fixed in a 4 or 5 year term. It's something that really you need to look forward to the next 50 to 100 years.
That's right, it'll take generations.
Yeah, and that's what it needs to be, and we have to know that the first part of that phase is going to be shit, because of course it is. Any transition phase is going to be, but that has to be the way forward, because if that doesn't happen, all we're going to get is the continued managed decline of this country, and it will just get worse and worse and worse.
I totally agree, and it will take generations. But it's like running a household. A friend of mine took in one of these people from foreign lands. It didn't last very long because the people from foreign lands basically wasn't a great house guest, right? But he ejected that guy. And I was actually quite disgusted with him. Not because I wouldn't have taken the guy in the first place. I wouldn't have had him in the country in the first place, right? But I was disgusted with him because he's talking about borders, this, how we should treat these people better. And then he took one and he was like, oh, no, I don't want him in my house. They're NIMBYs, not in my backyard, right? But despite having that experience, quite a negative experience, he's still supporting the open borders nonsense and all the rest of it. They're total hypocrites. But it will take generations. And see somebody that thinks there's an easy and clean solution to this where you can answer a couple of questions and it'll all be fixed. They're delusional. You've spent 50 or 60 years, well, 70 or 80 years now, systematically destroying our system. And it's going to take just as long to fix it.
Yeah, you see, I mean, you say generations, Jake, you say generations, but what is going to be the mindset of a generation educated under this particular education system? They're all going to think that, you know, the whites are really bad, that if you're a bloke, then you can be a girl. They're going to think stuff like that. There's not going to be any kind of meaningful thoughts in anybody's heads.
This is what is interesting about the current phase, is that I wouldn't go that far. I would say that, yes, there are those things being taught to certain people in certain schools, but it's not a complete indoctrination centre as in Soviet Russia would have been.
Not yet.
And I think that the reason that we can see that is that we can see that even amongst young people, there isn't uniformity. Because if they were being brainwashed, they would all have exactly the same thoughts. But I would say it's about half and half, like it is with the adults. In fact, actually, quite a sort of upswing recently amongst the young, moving further towards what the so-called right.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say that simple policy changes could eradicate a lot of these problems. If you say it is illegal to do this, that, or the other within the schools, we would very quickly winkle out the people that are doing these things. I mean, that's what I was talking about policy. We need to change certain views and ideas. It's like Rupert Lowe's talking about bringing in the death sentence for these people, right? There's nothing these people fear more than force. See if they think you are powerless, and by you, I mean the man in the street, are actually powerless to defend yourself, and your fear is that your family is going to be left alone because you have defended yourself, that you have tried to defend somebody who has been terrorised in the street. They will do anything they like and get away with it because they have nothing to lose. Decent people have things to lose.
It's funny you mention that because I watched yesterday the channel Dutch Travel Maniac, great title. He does some good stuff. And he went to Tirana in Albania and he was just talking to the people around there. And although there's a lot of poverty there, it's absolutely lovely. There's no crime. It was really peaceful. There was no migrants there. And of the residents who were in these areas said these areas used to be shit. But because all of the drug dealers and all the criminals have realised they can go abroad and make money, they've gone over there. And the reason they've gone over there rather than do it here is because the punishments here are too severe for them to want peace. So,
well, I did speak about this the last time we spoke, that even if it's the Muslim world, they're criminals, they're dissidents, they're troublemakers, they're all the people they don't want have left. Because let's face it, if you're in Saudi Arabia and they're going to cut your hand off, we'll go to Britain. Well, they give you a phone and a hotel. I'd rather have a phone and a hotel and a belly full of food than have one of my limbs amputated. Amputation is a horrible experience, even on a Monday morning.
When you put it that way, Slim, it's a tough decision to make. I mean, I'd have to give it a lot of thought.
Even the 70 IQ lot can figure that one out quickly.
It's crazy. And it's because of what I was saying. They're exploiting the Second World War aftermath and the human rights legislation and international law that came in was not designed for those sort of people in the situation that they are in. It was designed for things such as an emergency, like what happened in Germany. And they're not in an emergency now. They're just coming here because our system is too weak to say no to them.
And it is the system. It is policy, right? Now, see if you left it to the average man on the street, how he would react to these things. Me, I would say you get the wheelbrace out of the car and you start smashing the guy's head in. But I know for a fact that if I seen a man attacking a woman in the street and I ran over, pulled up my car, got the wheelbrace out and started hitting him with it, I would be the one going to jail. Me, not the mugger, not the rapist or the criminal. Me, the guy that thought, I'm going to protect that lady, I'm going to protect her, and me as a bit of a wiki, I'm going to have to hit him with something to stop this action.
Yeah, but you're conflating the current left government's way of looking at things and how Rupert Lowe or another or a decent.
Well, we are talking about things as they are, Richard. We're not talking about things as they could be. And it wasn't any different under a Conservative government.
No.
So it's not just, well, current left or right. The current left or right are just the same people.
Yeah, I thought
international and national.
I thought you said you had issues with the death penalty being brought in by Rupert Lowe or whatever you.
I never said that.
And then you were laying these things out as things that you could get, put to death for. Which because all right, okay. I misheard.
I said he was talking about bringing it in, and if it was brought in, a lot of these problems wouldn't exist in the numbers that they are.
Okay.
If you thought you were going to be raped for it, I did say, if you thought you were going to be raped for it, you think twice. If you thought you were going to be facing a beheading or a dangling.
Yeah. You've also
it's
got
traditional to dangle them in Britain,
Yeah.
After a short drop.
Yeah, short drop, yeah.
Let's be honest, though, it might be what we would like to happen, but that doesn't mean that it actually would happen. It'd have to take something really drastic for Parliament to agree to that in today's society.
Yeah.
This is what the sad thing is. I think we're heading towards atrocities coming because the unrest, people are getting tired. They're seeing people being headed, people being beheaded. They're seeing women getting raped and killed, stabbed all over the place. It's now more than a daily occurrence that these things are happening. And I think public opinion is now heading towards that.
How close do you think we are to see reprisal?
Well, we already are, aren't we? Sorry.
On you go, Richard.
I'm going to say in Belfast, so you've got to look at what they did in Belfast, where they were just, targeting HMOs, which of course I don't really condone, but it's at that. It's not really something that the government can control, is it? So,
but I mean the next level. How far away from people? Instead of telling those people to get out that house, they kill them, then burn the house down.
I think one, maybe two more stabbings or beheadings in street.
I think these things will happen organically. It will not be a deliberate intent. It will just be that people are so angry that they're just throwing flames at a building that people won't be able to get out of. Not that they don't let them out of, but it will happen. It will happen because there is no exit or no way for them to get out. It won't be by design. It just will happen organically. And then when people are getting so upset and so angry that they're doing these things, it will escalate. Because then there'll be reprisals for the foreigners who will start fighting in the streets with other people, and it'll escalate, and that's how these small sparks start big fires.
That was going to be my next question, actually, is if and when it does do that, what do you think the state response is going to be?
They're already doing it, aren't they?
Either of you. How will the government respond?
The government will initially respond by calling for calm and telling us white folk to keep a level head because they know they can't tell the coloured folks to keep a level head. There's no point in trying to communicate with with the people who are emotional, religious extremists. And our country is full of those people.
No, there's none of them. I've never met any.
Right?
What?
So they will call for us, the decent white folks, who only fighting age men who have come on a boat, to keep a level head, because we've got homes, we've got families, we've got roots in the community. So they will obviously say, look, we'll need to appeal to these people and no kill all the Johnny foreigners. Because there's no point in appealing to the Johnny foreigners who are already criminals. It's like the gun and knife laws. They can ban knives. They can ban them as many times as they want. Criminals will still carry them because they're criminals. This is where it's the knife laws are ridiculous in the sense that anybody who's willing to take somebody else's life by stabbing somebody else and chopping their head off, right? They don't care about the law. But see, if the next guy behind him was allowed to carry a sword and could simply draw it and have a quick swipe.
Yeah.
No, these people would think, oh, if everybody's got a sword, I've really not got the power I had yesterday. If you knew that every second gentleman in the crowd was carrying a beautifully made Japanese piece of high carbon steel, that all you had to do was give it a short prod and your vital essence would be spurting out all over the place. No, it doesn't take a big effort. Picture that same situation where that guy's on the floor, he's trying to, or getting to the point where he's carving somebody up, and somebody is standing there and saying, my good man, I shall prod you gently with my blade if you do not stand up. Oh, didn't stand up. Right? Now, if we were allowed to defend ourselves and defend others in such a fashion, initially I'm sure there'd be a lot of problems because people would be getting carried away with their power.
Yeah.
So if you've got your Sikhs and they're allowed to carry knives around, then how can you bring in such a law as if you get caught on the street with a knife, then you get locked up for 5 years? You can't bring that law in because the Sikhs are wandering around with knives because they're ceremonial knives.
You ban it. You ban it for Sikhs as well. They're no difference from us. What I want to say, Jake, your question, Jake, that you had. I'm thinking, like, he's like, oh, people are go in the houses, start killing people. Like that's an Islamic ideology thing. That's not us. But I reckon there's a chance something like that could happen if there's a certain crime that might involve possibly a murder, but maybe more to being raped or something, and they know where that person is. They know they're in that HMO. And I've got a feeling because of the two-tier justice, two-tier police and whatever, there is grave danger that certain people, because, they're just nutters, basically, could take the law into their own hands and possibly storm that HMO or that hotel in order to get to said person. But I don't think, or I'd like to think, that people growing up with like the Christianity and the way we are with our democracy wouldn't just go willy-nilly, we're not liking this situation, quick, find HMOs and start killing random blooming illegal immigrants, because as much as we don't want it, that's wrong.
What I would say to that is that I do agree with you, but I also think it would be a mistake to think that it wouldn't happen here because we're Christians, because look at what was happening in Northern Ireland in the 70s and in the 80s. I mean, one of the most horrible things I remember seeing was those two off-duty soldiers who turned up at the funeral accidentally and then tried to reverse out and got hemmed in, and the two men got dragged out of the car and lynched, essentially. So that sort of thing can happen over here. It has happened recently, and it can happen in all societies. But it's something that definitely happens more in Islamic societies.
But then, would you not say? But that's more to do with the few rather than the many, and it wouldn't be an all-out country rebellion and it going mad. There's just a little pocket of maybe psychos that could possibly let's go into every house and kill every illegal immigrant. Like, yes, I know they're illegal, but they're people. They want lives. They might even be bad people, but you still ain't got the right just to go up and start murdering people. And I'd like to think that we wouldn't do that. But like I say, if there's a certain crime and it looks like two-tier whatever, there'd be a breaking point that might cause what you're saying to then happen.
So you do think it's something that is on the cards?
Yeah,
No,
I'd like to think it isn't, but
yeah,
I've got a feeling that, you know, regardless of how we want it to be in society, we like to think that it wouldn't happen. Is there a realistic chance that it could happen? Yes, because people have different minds, different mindsets, different angry type moments. And like what you said with Northern Ireland, and we've seen what's happened. So there will be certain parties that would think, you know, I don't care about life being in jail for the rest of it. Not a problem. I'm going to go in the HMOs. I'm going to start attacking people. So yeah, I mean, it'd be naive just to say no, that would never happen. So I think your question's valid, and you know, there's probably at this point maybe a 5% chance it could happen, but that's still a chance. And if it's 5%, that could easily grow. So yes, but I'm hoping not.
I would agree with that, and I think this is where we have to be really thoughtful. But although our defence budget is shit and we need to invest more in our defence, our intelligence services are amongst the best in the world. If they weren't, we would have a lot more terror attacks than we actually have had, and they do a fantastic job at counterintelligence and also at dealing with intelligence that relates to people here, because there are a very small number of people that are genuinely far right, who genuinely do want to go out and murder people. They're not enough to justify the threat that they're made out to be. And I absolutely agree. I think that if there is an emotive enough crime, if it happened in a certain area, like, I don't know, Birmingham, for example, is probably the most obvious one, a really emotive crime to happen there, or something really... I was going to say something really outrageous, as if something being murdered on its own isn't outrageous. But I mean something more escalated more than that, and we shouldn't be normalising murder. That in itself tells it's a problem if that's what we're doing. But,
yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think that there could be some sort of event could result in high-level disorder. But again, I don't think it will be nationwide.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert. Thanks for the super chat, mate. It's not hard to say anything when somebody's stepping on your toes. Very true. You've got a voice, use it. 100%.
Yeah, you see, the riots in Belfast were all due to, you know, people, the government not listening. So what they did was to burn those houses to get the people out in order to send a message to the government saying we're not going to take this much more. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't condone anything like that. I'm just a chuffing couch person who sometimes comes on wizard's words. That's about as much energy as I can pour into anything. But yeah, I think that it was to send a message, and also to the landlords of the HMOs, you know, because obviously their insurance is going to go up, so they're trying to battle it that way around. Do you know what I mean? Rather than going in and killing, if it would start going in and killing people, then that's proper bad. That's proper not right, is it? You know, even if someone were to be caught in a fire by accident, you know, then that's also manslaughter and shouldn't really be condoned at all. You know, so yeah. But how else do you send a message to a government that just goes la la la, can't hear you? How else do you do that?
Well, why is it that every single day we're seeing now there's a stabbing, there's another knife crime, there's been another rape, there's been a gang rape? It isn't isolated offences like it used to be in the 1990s. It's just something that is happening every single day. And I think the government really need to sort its fucking act out and acknowledge what we're going through here is war. That's it. These people are... Stop saying that they're lone wolves. Stop saying that they've got mental health, and admit that these people are here for a specific reason, which is they are civilian soldiers.
I think personally that things will get worse before they get any better. We will see more of these attacks and more outrage at it. I don't think it will come to an all-out civil conflict where there's like in the American Civil War, where there's two groups opposing each other and fighting a proper war. I think it will become a guerrilla war, where certain groups or people are attacked or singled out for attack because of things they've done, said, or the ideology that they're pushing. And I think we will be heading into a more violent future over the next decade or two. Whether it's a long-term thing or no, the policies that are created by the future governments will
dictate like in Yugoslavia, so.
Even that was more of an all-out conflagration. I think what we'll be getting is a government that is in denial that it's happening, refuses to openly support one side or the other. For instance, we've got a government now that will not speak against, if you notice, Keir Starmer. He was willing to speak against the George Floyd thing, but he'll not speak up when it's happening in his own country. And that silence is more painful than it could ever be to some people.
Yeah, that is really absolutely the nadir of his rule. I think that he couldn't even do that and showed that much hypocrisy. That for many people has completely lost any slight semblance of legitimacy that he might have had. He's hated now by both sides.
Yeah, and he wasn't well liked when he took power. But
No, but
honestly, we've got to admit that. We've got to admit that if this is the way it is, and this is the way it's been going on, right, that it is in fact government policy. The way it is the way they actually want it to be, or someone somewhere would make an effort to change it. Who benefits from it is the big question. Who benefits from all of these problems that we're having?
That's what I want to know.
I won't bring up the Fabian Society again.
Yeah, but it's,
Money and
the
power.
Fabian Society don't get fat off the crime that are committed by everybody. Like, they're just one aspect of it.
Yeah, but you know, it's all to do with you know, not confusion. Yeah. Anyway, I've already mentioned it. Don't matter.
You keep no mentioning it, Richard. Have you been studying the Fabian Society of late? Have you?
Yes,
Have you?
I suspected as much.
I can just see all the puzzle pieces, and I've always got a full jigsaw puzzle. I might even do it on my channel. I don't know. I've been thinking, should I bring something up about Fabian Society?
Yeah, do it.
Going on about that and going on and going on, and you know, get people up and then say, well, have you not noticed that this? No, I'm not going to do it because then Fabian Society will be after me, especially if I get enough chuffing members and enough subscribers, and then I've got to worry about that, haven't I?
Well, let's say the Fabian Society are a part of it, the Club of Rome are a part of it, all these other groups are a part of it.
Yeah,
they are all acting for their own self-interest.
Of course.
20 years ago, people would have been saying, the Masons, it's the Masons. The Masons are doing it. Everybody, it's the Masons. Now, the Masons have fallen by the wayside of late, and very few people you see have blamed the Masons in favour of blaming the Fabians and the Jews and the commies. Now, they're probably all right to some degree, because all of these organisations do their best to survive.
Yeah.
All of them, including the Christian organisations.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the Vatican itself, for instance, it tells you should have goodwill to all these people and they support the flood of refugees and the support of the illegal. They don't take any in. Not one. The Vatican has not taken one single refugee in.
No little boys.
No, not even any little boys that they can make castrato and sing in a choir.
And they're going up in choir,
Well, the missed opportunity there.
Well, perhaps, but they don't want to sully their halls with the cannabis and blood-soaked carpets from the decapitations, do they? I mean, that's not in their way, is it? Decapitations would ruin the furniture.
If they did allow third world, and then they're going to have to build a mosque, aren't they? You can't do that in the middle of, Vatican City. You probably already woke to that. Thought, oh well, okay, no.
Well, and just to speak in their defence, all that white marble, it'd be a nightmare getting the stains of blood out of all that white marble, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's people that blame all of these organisations, and they're probably all in some way connected to the big problems that we all have.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as I've said, every single person here, including the people commenting and watching this channel, we're all responsible for it in some way. It goes back to the V for Vendetta speech. We are all responsible for it. To blame and point the fingers at others. The Jews is my favourite one. People always blame the Jews. No, all right, a few Jewish families done very well. Such things as usury, the gem trade, whatever. Right? But the same families, for instance, and it's no mistake that the word Jew is in jewels, jewellery. Right? They done well because they were in there early and they were organised and they were educated. And in days of yore, a long, long time ago, the Jews done well because they treated their family well. They educated their people. You know, when like 1%, the literati here, the Illuminati, the Illuminators, those that worked in the churches making Bibles, were the only people that could read and write. Almost every Jewish child could read and write. So they put importance on education and family life. Right? So the Jews did do well. Because when the average person here couldn't read, write, or count the wages they were given other than to know it was 1 or 2 bits that they could count on their fingers, bits of silver. A Jewish child could say, Father, he did stump us for a groat on that deal. You know? And it'd be like, oh, did he, son? We'll go and then it'd be like, come on and give us our money. We know you stuffed us for a groat in that deal and we want a groat back or you're not getting your delivery next week.
No, you're right. And this is the second time today when really we've drawn sort of attention to the fact that the society that we live in is incomparable to what came beforehand. Even something that we take for granted now, like education, was not available to most people. So they couldn't count their wages. It's something that it was inconceivable to us now. But what I must say is it's been very fun chatting to you people, but I need to go and have a nap. So I'm going to go now. And thank you very much. And I shall speak to you next time. Thank you, Liz. Take care.
Take it easy, mate.
Take care, Jake. Have a good day.
Good afternoon. Someone's going to bed in after. I can't really say good night, can you? Can you, dear? I don't know. I don't know how that works.
So we've been going 2 hours, so we'll wrap it up because I've got a 10-hour stream tomorrow. My stupid idea.
I get my Manjaro injected at 4 o'clock. So I think I'll be alert for most of the morning. Yeah. You think I'm losing my weight?
I lost most I ever lost was £20, but I lost my wallet, didn't I?
So I weighed myself the other day at High Gertz, and it's 161 kilos, and I thought, oh, that must be lower than me at last one then, because I was 19 stone when I got weighed at Christmas time. And then I went back to it and I said, oh, I'm only 161 kilos. And she said, oh, my sister said, that's 25 stone. You're joking. It turned out her bloody scales were broke. So I bought some new scales and I was 115. So I'm actually 18 stone now. So that's less than 19, obviously, because I've got an education and I'm not like the Romans being paid wages, of which I'd only get paid half as much, half, 1.5, 2.5. I never get paid as much as like next man. But yeah, if I were to count on my fingers, that is. I've noticed my curtains are falling there. Oh dear.
Random, but yeah, that's good.
I'll get the.
It's been a good chat today. I do love it when Slim comes up. I was I'm not feeling all 100% anyway. So I said to the missus, like, I'll still go live, but I said, hopefully Slim will come out because I like to sit and listening to him. And it happened. I manifested it. So cheers for that, Slim.
You're very welcome, was
your comical break as well in me. I do say things that are, you know, quite serious and thing, but yeah, I do like to throw a joke.
We have our moments, but
yeah,
I'll probably at some point tomorrow between 12 and 10, I'll probably do a little call-in moment because obviously, you know, 10 hours is just absolutely stupid.
Yeah,
it seemed a good idea at the time. I got inspired. I wish I hadn't, but I'm going to stick to it. So yeah, but yeah, it's going to be good. So if anyone's around tomorrow,
is it Slim's birthday? Slim,
no, yesterday. It was my birthday yesterday.
Happy belated birthday, Slim.
I was 60 yesterday.
So I'll be 55 again, I think, this year. Again.
I'm the big 50. I'm 50. So you know, we're all getting there. We're all getting there. But but it's been quality. It's been a good one today. So thank you very much for calling in. As always, Slim, I appreciate it. And you, Rich.
See you guys. Cheers.
Get you up here, and every Sunday guaranteed to call in. So you know, clear your diary for the Wiz. That's what I say.
Put it in my diary. See you. Cheers, Slim. Ta-da. Bye.
Take care, people.
Take it easy, mate. Take it easy.
Au revoir.
I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Oh, happy days. There we go, ladies. It's 2 hours of nice talking. And it, yeah, like Slim said, it's getting a bit tasty in the old chat there. Keep it all nice. We're all family. We're all Wizardians. Well, I'm not. I'm a whiz, so, you know. I'm one up than you. I'm considerably better than you. No, not really. We're all equal. We're equal. What's equal? We're all equal. So good, yeah. But thank you to every single one of you in chat. I appreciate you being here. And thanks to Olga for her, she's done the 5 Wizard Word memberships. Thank you, Olga, as always. I really appreciate it. Robert, wow, your generosity knows no bounds, sir. Another 10 Wizard Words memberships. Thanks for that. And he also done a super chat for the cheeky $5. Happy days. A quick $5. Yes, get in. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And don't forget, tomorrow, like it says across the bottom, I've kept that going there. Got to remind you, 10 hours from 12 p.m. till 10 p.m. Obviously, if it goes completely Pete Tong, I'll end it early. But I'm hoping that we could just get loads of subscribers, have a laugh, and we'll talk about the news, politics. We'll have a few video clips, probably have a giggle. You know what I mean? We'll have to have a laugh, won't we? So thank you to every single one of you. I will see you tomorrow at some point, hopefully, for the 10 hours, and we'll go from there, living the dream. So, yes, thank you. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the World Cup, or maybe Emma Raducanu. She's one set down, but I think it was 5-3 the last I looked in the Queen's final. You know, sport. You've got to support the English lady, of course. But for now, ladies and gents, that is the Wizard's Words.